Guten Morgen, lads and lassies, and welcome back to the YouTube. So today we're gonna do a combination of a Q&A and also a vlog, because I think a sit-down Q&A could be quite boring, but then so could a vlog. So I thought if I put them together, two negatives equals a plus. So yeah, I've selected 10 questions and I'm gonna just answer them as I go about my day. So the first question shall be answered in the car. Okay, so I know you're thinking, this isn't your car, Dave. Well, maybe you're not thinking that, but basically I've had this car on a test. I was reviewing it for the last week. So yeah, so basically this is not my car and now I'm going to return it. Okay, so yeah, cinematics of this car that I've had on test for the last week. It's a Volkswagen T-Cross. It's kind of nice actually, I do like it. But anyway, first question, we'll start nice and simple. Matthew Walker HD, who is your favourite wakeboarder? It's a tough question to answer because I don't want to pick one or two. But I would say my favourite wakeboarders over the course of time would have been Nick Davies, probably number one. Was a big fan of Keith Lyman back in the day. Who else? Nowadays, I'm a big fan of Harley's. I like the way Harley rides, the way Dowdy rides. On the cable side of things. Well, actually, an easier way to put it is, my favourite wakeboarders to watch ride would be those guys. But then I think people who are really clued into how things work these days are people like JB O'Neill. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. I've no doubt that all of you are also big fans of him. The Peacock brothers, they're also doing really good stuff on YouTube and pushing kind of social media. Obviously Steel Laffy does a lot of brilliant stuff on social media as well. So yeah, that would be who my favourite wakeboarders are, I'm going to go ahead and say. If I had to pick anyone to spend a day in the boat with, it would obviously be Sean Murray though. I think Sean Murray is the king. Question numero dos is from Eric Johnson and it's with reference to ski rope versus wakeboard rope, and is it worth buying a wakeboard rope? So if you have infinity money in the world, then 100% go buy a wakeboard rope because it will make a difference. However, it's not going to make you the world's best wakeboarder, and so in my opinion, because at the end of the day wakeboarding is actually about going out, enjoying it. We're about to hit a massive bus here. It's a real scary road. Anyway, in my opinion, wakeboarding is about enjoying it. So the equipment obviously helps loads and it will make you a little bit better for sure. However, I personally would spend your money, if you don't have very much money, on getting an extra few rides in, because the rope can be like, depending on where you are in the world, let's say like $100, $150, and that money could buy you 3 or 4 wakeboard sets. So that's my opinion. At the end of the day, it's completely up to you and how much money you have. Also, if you're wondering why I'm walking right now, I had to drop that car back to the test centre and it's about an hour walk, and I was going to get a taxi, but then I thought it would be good exercise to walk home, which kind of leads me well into my next question. Question number 3 is from Fruitface, and Fruitface has asked, what is the best exercise for wakeboarding in the off season? So while I wouldn't classify walking as wakeboarding exercise, I would say that generally any type of exercise, just staying fit, is the best thing you can do. It's very hard to train specifically for wakeboarding. I do have, I think, 2 videos which I will link up here right now for training that you can do in the off season. The other thing I've started doing a lot this year is I do like that hot room yoga. I've been doing it like 2 to 3 days a week and it is really good. I mean, I don't know how much like physical exercise, like I don't think I'm going to get massive muscles from doing it, but I think it's really good like stretching, which being flexible can't really do any harm, can it? Anyway, Next question. Now, question number 4 is from Billy Law Marshall, and it is, what country have you always wanted to wakeboard in but never have been before? So this time last year I would have said Philippines, because since I was about 11 or 12 I always wanted to go to CWC. That box was well and truly ticked, and I probably will go back eventually. I don't know what country I would like to wakeboard in. I'd love to go, I think, and I could be corrected on my geography, is it Halong Bay in Vietnam? And there's like insane islands. If it's not there, I'm going to show you a picture of where it is. So yeah, that place, I'd love to go there. I don't even know how feasibly possible this would be, but with a Centurion and just ride and film there, because it just looks incredible. As I get older, as I get wiser, it's not about going to like the most commercial cool places. It's now like I'm thinking that could be insane with a drone properly filmed. Which is kind of like a tiny SUV. I know America it's not even an SUV, but in Ireland that's considered and classed as an SUV. This genuinely feels like a race car. Anyway, next question is, do you wakeboard for your job, or is wakeboarding your job? And there is a short and a long answer to this. Both is yes. So in short, yes, wakeboarding is my job, and in long form, it's my job, but I kind of also have other jobs. And I didn't always, for a long time, all I did was wakeboarding. But then I found I had a lot of spare time, particularly at this time of year in the winter. And even in the summer, you can only wakeboard so much in the day. And even if you make a YouTube video, or let's say 4 videos a week, you're still going to have spare time. So I started doing a few other things, one of which is reviewing cars and some kind of digital marketing work. And then the other thing I do is presenting, TV presenter for Red Bull, because apparently I'm really good at talking shit. No, but the opportunity arose there, and you're not going to say no to anything like that. And I also think it's the variety of things that keeps everything interesting, particularly wakeboarding. Like, I genuinely love wakeboarding, probably more now than I did a few years ago, but in a very different way. Like, now I enjoy the actual wakeboarding, whereas before I was just obsessed with like the progress and things like that. So yeah, being able to do more things just definitely keeps the fire alive. But yeah, next question. Continuing on, I'm going to do the next question here because we're on the motorway and there's not much else going on. So, how do you avoid getting an edge? And also, I think in the question it said, what's the advice for overcoming fear? So, in terms of fear, I've said this in a few videos, but as long as it's within your reach, as in it's within your capabilities and you're not being stupid, then what I do is I tend to think, I'm going to do this eventually, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, or in 2 years' time. So I might as well just get the first one done, and then I give the trick a crack. Hopefully it goes well, and then you go from there, because the first one is always the worst. It's kind of like crepes. The first one is always a throwaway. Then, in terms of avoiding an edge, now there's a few things. The main thing I'm going to say is when you're doing, like, let's say a surface 180, because an edge is the biggest issue when you're learning like surface 180s and power slides and stuff like that. Avoid looking down, because if you look down, you go down. And I know that saying is quite cliche, but it's also extremely true. So let's say you're doing a surface 180, just make sure to keep the toes up so that that edge doesn't catch, and keep your head looking at the boat or at the cable. And the same if you're going backside, just keep the heels up, dig in those toes, and then just make sure, again, you don't want to be looking down at your toes, you actually want to be looking back to where you've come from. And those would be my biggest 2 tips for overcoming fear, and also for avoiding edges. Alright, so we're back from that event. It was a Skoda event. Effectively, the new hybrid Superb is out, and I have to say, it is superb. However, the range is only like 55 kilometers on the electric engine, and because I got there quite late in the day, the electric engine was out of battery. Anyway, next question is from someone called Oleski, and it's in regards to trying tricks on the cable and the boat. Are they the same, and also should you try on the cable first? So obviously they're not the exact same. However, I am a strong believer in trying them on the cable first for the most part. And the reason for this, now the cable riders are going to hate on me, and I'm not saying you can't get hurt on the cable, but what I am definitely saying is you are way more likely to have a bad crash on the boat, because you're going faster, the water of the boat's coming towards you, and it just hurts more. It really does. So my advice would be, although it's not identical, try on the cable first, because A, it's not going to hurt as much, B, it's way more cost efficient because obviously riding cable is cheaper than boat, and C is that if you can do it on the cable when you go to try on the boat, it is different, but it's going to help you because you have somewhat of an understanding, and also you've got that confidence. And wakeboarding and everything, it's all about confidence at the end of the day. Next question is about wearing a helmet when driving. God, you probably should wear a helmet when driving. Definitely when you're in the car with me anyway. When riding, should you wear a helmet? So on the boat, I'm going to go ahead and say absolutely never unless you're hitting an obstacle, because I don't want to go too far into it, but it can make it more dangerous. So often I see people using a helmet on the boat, but just avoid it because A, there's more buoyancy, and C, I keep going from A to C. My brain's not working right now, but basically there's more buoyancy, and also the edge of the helmet, if that catches, it can rip the strap on your neck and it can really hurt. So although it might give you confidence, it's actually slightly more dangerous. Now on the flip side, on the cable, you should always wear a helmet. I think the reasons are pretty self-explanatory. You're hitting metal, you're hitting plastic, wood, all sorts of hard, proper surfaces, and if you hit your head off them, it's going to hurt and potentially literally kill you. So always wear one on the cable. On the boat, it's kind of a grey area, but I'd actually avoid it, being honest. I think it's safer not to. And then obviously life jackets. Don't be an absolute idiot. Wear your life jacket, because it's literally got the word life in it. Alright, next question. Boom, transition to being actually at home. Next question is from 1S Drift Kid, and it's quite a long question. There's 3 parts. So part 1 is, what are your plans for this year? Competitions, coaching gigs. Would love to see you back in Oz. I will be definitely in Oz, I think at the beginning of November, and potentially again early next year. Then the other part about what are my plans? So I'm probably not going to compete as much as I have in previous years, and the reason being for that is because for competitions you basically just practice 10 tricks over and over and over again, and it can, I don't want to say it, but it can sometimes suck the joy out of wakeboarding. And what I've realised in the last couple of years is I thoroughly enjoy just free riding, enjoying myself out there, doing all those tricks that I think that generally the audience finds more entertaining as well, but more from my own point of view. Like, I have way more fun like odding over the first wake, doing like a bell out of blind over the second wake, than I do going out and just doing like toe 9, back mob 5. Like, and don't get me wrong, those tricks are nice and it feels good when you land them, but it's not, I don't know, it's not where my passion lies anymore, which kind of ties into the next part of the question, which is the passion still there? And yes, absolutely. I kind of mentioned that earlier. I just think this year, like, definitely to keep the passion there, I'm going to focus more on doing like the fun tricks. And then the last thing is about learning new tricks. New tricks. Yes, that is something this year that I want to do. And with competitions, it's hard to go down that avenue. So I'm going to straight up make a big shout this year. So last year, I started to get my toe back 9s. Basically, how do I say this fast? A few years ago, I learned toe back 9. I was one of the first people in the world to ever land it. Then I had a very bad crash on it. I was put off it for about 3 years. Landed a couple then in November. Long story short, this year my plan is to hopefully be the very first person to do a toe back 10 wake to wake. It's a large claim, but I really want to do it. And you got to understand, when you get to a higher level, each trick, like, this is going to take me a full year to learn. There's no way I'm just going to learn it like next week. But that is my goal. So I'll be doing lots of trips to side wake for that, and hopefully Gonna get out on a Centurion more, maybe in the States, maybe somewhere else, who knows. But yeah, I'm gonna need a big wake for that one. And then there was, no, that's it. Yeah. Next question. Okay, next question is a really good one from Little Ledge. What were the things that you struggle to overcome in building your career that you have right now? So I'm gonna come a little bit closer. I'm probably too close now, but I would say the biggest challenge, obviously I live in Ireland, it's like freezing out there today. I know earlier on it looked sunny, but it is around 1 or 2 degrees Celsius. It rains nearly all year, and obviously then I have to travel. So my biggest hurdle was when I was about 19, I moved to Florida, and at the time you had to live in Florida to be a pro wakeboarder. Now thankfully that hurdle was knocked right down by the interweb. So now I can live wherever I want, because basically I do travel like a whole lot. Last year I did 100 flights. So I'm like always traveling to wakeboard. And that was probably the biggest hurdle, that I'd have to live in America. Whereas now I don't. I've not really had many hurdles, to be honest. Like I've been pretty lucky with everything. I do work very hard generally across the board. And I think effort completely corresponds, I think that's the phrase to use anyway, to the result. So if you put in a lot of effort, even if you're not killing it every day, but even if you're just wakeboard every single day, over the course 4 or 5 years, you are going to progress. And it's the same with as a career wakeboarding. I just wakeboarded and did things with sponsors and did everything every single day. I made YouTube videos. I was always doing this, and naturally then the results kind of began to flow in. And so yeah, don't really have any hurdles. I've been very, very lucky in that respect. Boom. Next question is from Scott B. Do you remember when you made videos every day for a couple of months a few years ago? How about trying a less aggressive schedule like JB O'Neill does, say every Tuesday or something? So yes, in short, beginning from the summer, I'm going to be uploading probably every Wednesday and every Sunday consistently. I'm going to have someone helping me. I think I've found someone who's going to help me with the whole, basically with the editing, and also having a filmer there, because it's hard to just kind of, here, take this and film me. Like it's really, you feel like a burden on people. The second thing is, in the winter, it's not impossible, but it's very difficult for me to film videos. Like I literally flew to Portugal a few weeks ago to film a couple of videos and to wakeboard, and I have to fly to like Asia or fly to Australia, and it's a pretty dramatic thing to do. Obviously I'll probably be doing those trips anyway, but sometimes it is just going that extra mile, and then it kind of just kicks you where it hurts, because your views are down terribly in the winter. So like, to put it in perspective, if I was to get like 10 views for a video in the winter, that same video in the summer will get like at least 100, maybe even 200 views. Obviously it's not those numbers, but like that's what I'm trying to say. It's so much bigger in the summer. So my fear is that I hit it really, really hard now, burn out by like June when it all starts to kick off, and then I'm only putting out like one video and not maximizing on when people actually want to see the videos and when people are watching them. And yeah, so that is my plan. However, I would like feedback on what type of videos. I'm guessing more tutorials, but is there any other type of videos? Because I'm open to suggestions. Okay, last question, and I'm not picking someone who said it because a few people said this, and it is in relation to buying a board and how to go about buying one. So it is a video in itself, and I'm probably due making a newer one, so maybe I'll do that actually in the next couple of weeks. But basically I have a video, I'm going to link it right here, and that is all the advice in terms of size, in terms of what type of board, rockers, it explains it all. I will do an up-to-date one because that is about 2 or 3 years old, but nothing's really changed. And yeah, hopefully that will help you, because there's a lot to it and I don't want to kind of rush past it. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I know it was a bit random and I kind of just took you along my day, as it was a busy day. Most of the days, to be completely honest, at the moment are just in front of my computer. And the thing about social media is you only kind of show the highlights, so I don't have very much fun stuff to show these days. But that will all change in the coming few weeks. I think I'm going to go back to Portugal next week. Haven't booked it yet, but I think I will. My GoPro literally just died. But seriously, thank you so much for watching. Bit of a different video, no wakeboarding in it. Sorry about that if you're an avid wakeboard fan. And for now, goodbye, and we'll see you in the next video.